Difference between a good contractor and not as good contractor is what they do when things get messed up.
Bad things happen to good people because they can't have those hard conversations. And so you don't know what adjustments you're going to make if you don't have the right information.
You can't pay enough for people to care. You can't pay enough for people to be loyal to you.
Welcome to the How It Started podcast, where we go behind the build with founders, operators, and visionaries who turned their ideas into impact. Today, I'm sitting down with Dimitri, one of the driving forces behind Burke Construction Group, one of the fastest growing Nevada-based general contracting firms that has quietly reshaped how commercial and multifamily projects are getting done. See, Dimitri didn't just step into the construction industry, he went all in. In just a few years, Burke has landed and developed some of the major projects here in Las Vegas, including for the state of Nevada, Clark County Schools, Capital One, and the luxury culinary hub known as the Uncommons right across from the Durango Casino and Hotel. And that's just naming a few, totaling over $1 billion in contracts landed and developed. But what really makes Dimitri's story compelling isn't just what they've built, but how they're doing it with deep local roots, a solution-first mindset, and the systems that are helping them scale without losing control. In this episode, we're gonna unpack the early struggles, the bets that didn't pay off, and the behind-the-scenes processes that keep Burke projects moving even when the market throws curveballs like the 2008 crisis, permitting delays, cost escalation, or talent shortages. Whether you're building a business, leading a team, or just trying to stay grounded while you scale up, this conversation is going to be packed with hard-won lessons and real-world strategy. Without further ado, let's get into it. Here's the How It Started podcast with Dimitri Mialoliakos. Welcome to the How It Started podcast. My name is Hiram, and today I'm with the Vice President of Burke Construction, Mr. Dimitri. Welcome to the show. How are you feeling today?
Feeling great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I'm excited to have the conversation. We spoke a little bit via Zoom. We're here in person, and I wanted to take it back to the beginning. Tell me what first drew you to construction, how you got started with the company.
With Burke, my dad he's still around, but he was in construction as long as I remember him, and I kind of have the construction in me, my blood, I guess. I came to Vegas in '91 to go to school at UNLV. And I started as architectural design, but within a year I realized that architecture is not really my passion, I guess.
Yeah.
And I switched to construction management, which was still part of the College of Architecture. So since '91 all the way to '95, where I graduated, and the plan was for me to go back to Greece to kind of work with my dad in the construction industry. Well, I fell in love with Vegas. I fell in love with the people I met in the university. And actually, the university for me was kind of like an escape because I was dealing with a very toxic family environment here. So, and that's how my career started in construction. I had a job waiting for me with another local general contractor. And since '95, '96, that's all I've done, construction, until I joined Burke in 2005 as a senior estimator, and then chief estimator, and then vice president. And now I'm kind of like I own about 15% of the business, so I'm part owner. My partner, Kevin Burke, and I have one more partner, Thad. Probably Kevin Burke, who's I consider like a mentor.
Yeah.
I would put him and my father as the most hardworking people I ever met in my life, and, and admire that of them.
Yeah.
I work hard. I mean, I think I have a good work ethic, but man, remembering my dad always working.
Yeah.
And mind you, my family, I came from very humble beginnings, we were not rich. I mean, we were not poor. We had food, we had food on the table, we had a roof over our head, clothes to wear, but my dad was always working.
Yeah.
Right? And I admire that, that takes, determination, right?
Absolutely.
So came here, it's kind of similar, and if you kind of ever talk to Kevin Burke, he'll give you the same story, how his parents immigrated here, and then they had to, make everything start from nothing. So joined Burke in 2005, moved up the ranks, so now on part of the business, and Yeah, that's it.
I love it. Yeah, so that's something that we have in common. I grew up in a construction household, so I know. Yeah, my dad was always gone. He was working long hours. He did concrete.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he also operated the digger for the
excavators,
foundations.
yeah.
Yep. But yeah, same thing. I was blessed to grow up in a family like that because even when he wasn't working, he was working. He was always doing something. He was always contributing, you know, and that's that's an important thing in business is like you always have to be contributing to your people, to your clients. You have to always be bringing value because if not, someone else will, you know?
You bet.
So what year did you start in with Burke?
2005. Actually, it was January 3rd, 2005, the first day of 2005.
I like it. So when you first started with the company, like what was your expectation? Like did you think that you were going to be an owner of this multi-million-dollar corporation?
Honestly, man, I had no idea. If you had told me then that 20 years later I'd still be working for that, that company and I would own it, I would have told you you're out of your mind. And mind you, in general, construction is an industry that people jump a lot from companies to companies. And
why do you think that is?
well, a lot of it has to do with the economy. A lot of it has to do with the market and being profitable and non-profitable. Because when a contractor is non-profitable, then the first thing he does is cuts overhead, right? So then people just jump ship.
Yeah.
I mean, even in 2008 when we had the financial crisis, and I'm not sure if you were in Vegas then.
Yeah.
2008 was ground zero. Vegas, when it comes to the in construction, there was like
it was the worst. It got
25% unemployment in construction.
Yeah.
It's horrible. We survived. I mean, we didn't let go people. We kept people working, but we traveled. I mean, I went up in the up in the Dakotas, up in the Williston, up in the oil patch, and we built there. We couldn't build things there fast enough because I don't know if you remember the price of oil. I think it was $100 a barrel.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So they needed oil, right? And you go to Williston, and I'm not sure if you're familiar, but think of it the size of Pahrump overrun by roughnecks. It was bad, right? And then they need housing, they need, you name it, hospitals, schools. We built it, you name it.
You built that city.
We expanded the city. And the problem we had there was that, one of the jokes that they told me when I first got there here in Williston, here in North Dakota, especially that part, you get 3 months of winter and 9 months of bad weather.
Yeah.
So you have to figure it out. So actually that made me personally and the company a better builder because you have to think ahead.
Yeah.
And mind you, in Williston at the time, there wasn't even a Home Depot. So it's not like I go to Home Depot and buy a piece of plywood. I had to order everything.
Yeah.
And trying to get subcontractors to work. And then, God forbid, there's a hunting season. Then everybody's gone chasing deer. I mean, it was a whole different mindset and approach. And we learned, man. I learned a lot.
Yeah. So I know you learned a lot on that project, but I know that one of the foundational projects that you guys worked on even before you guys went to the Dakotas was in Washington.
Oh, yeah.
So I want you to share like some of the tough experiences that you had in Washington that led you to have success in building up the city in the Dakotas.
So Washington was unique because I think we had a bad business plan, and it's okay to admit it. I mean, in business you're going to make mistakes, right? So we actually opened up an office in Spokane, but all the work was on the west side of the state, Seattle, and up and down, like Bellevue, Marysville, whatever. And while we couldn't get a job to save our life up in Spokane, right, we had to go and chase the work in Seattle. And mind you, in that part of the world, I mean, it always rains.
Yeah.
It never stops
gloomy.
raining.
Yeah, they have like a high rate of suicide because the sun never comes out.
Yeah,
everyone's spooked up.
Right. And then the way the subcontractors operate there, again, we're a briefcase contractor. We don't self-perform any work, so I have to go hire and I have to go find subcontractors. It's a whole different animal versus here. The rules and regulations they have up there doesn't even compare with the ones we have here. There's a lot of safety nets here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
In Nevada, actually, with subcontractors and general contractors and how we get paid and how we pay our subs and all those things, licenses and who can get a license and license limits. Over there, it was just a free-for-all, man. It was... And I remember dealing with subs, and they would send me a price, trying to put a bid together. The next day, he would change it like that. There was no like ethics. There's no integrity like I could. Plus, we didn't have the relationships.
Yeah.
We're the new kids on the block, so therefore they treated us like a whatever, man. And the work was plentiful over there, by the way. There was plenty of work there. That's why we went.
Yeah.
But man, it was bad. We ended up spending money
Wow.
for about a year and a half, 2 years. And after that, we're done. And the North Dakota opportunity, and we're
Yeah.
going to go there. But we learned a lot because, again, the climate there was wet
Yeah.
climate, right? Weather. And then we went there, which we had snow and cold and all that. But we applied those lessons there.
Yeah. It sounds like, all right, you went in Dakota, you talked a little bit about planning everything out, right? Was the planning, that mindset of just planning everything out, come from the experience that you had in Washington? Or have you always been a big planner and
No, that's a good
mapped
question.
everything out?
You have to. If you want to be successful in construction, you got to plan ahead. And we have all kind of software and hardware, but even so, you have to, because think of it, when you put a building together, you have so many different components to it. So you got to plan for them. When is the light fixture? Where's the plumbing fixture? Where's the gear? Where's all the components? And if you miss a bit, or for some reason you are not aware that, like I give you, for instance, during the pandemic, right? I couldn't get switchgear, which switchgear is the big electrical panels that you
Yeah,
put. We're talking about a year, 12 months.
That's
before I could
crazy.
get it.
So it just backed up all your projects.
God.
You weren't able to deliver on those.
Yeah, I could have a building done, but I couldn't turn the switch on. There was no
Yeah.
gear. So what
That's
do you
crazy.
do? So you have to plan, pre-plan, order it right away, pay for overnighting, pay for the factory to work second shift. Whatever you do,
Yeah.
you do. And you just got to communicate to your client. Listen,
Yeah.
man, do you want it on time or it
Yeah.
is what it is. I can't control the pandemic.
Yeah, and as a business owner, you definitely need to be able to pivot and maneuver through these obstacles. Do you feel like those skills sharpened over time?
You bet.
And then is that also something that you utilize in everyday life, just being able to pivot and
It's two things. One, to pivot, and the second is to grind. You just got to grind through
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah,
We have so many regulations we got to deal with. We have safety. We have storm water. Now in Vegas we're kind of spoiled because
we're spoiled. No rain. You can
we
work
get,
every day.
Yeah, you work 12 months out of the year. Okay, in
Yeah.
the summer, okay, it gets hot. So if you pour concrete, you pour at night.
Yeah,
But you can still work. Other parts of the country, man. I remember in North Dakota, the cement plant was shut down right before Thanksgiving. About this time of the year, they would tell you, "Okay, we're going to shut down in 2 weeks." We couldn't get concrete,
wow.
and the asphalt plant too. They couldn't make asphalt, right? And they wouldn't start back up until March, April. So think about that. If you're not
So why
dried
did
in-
they shut that down? Was
Because
it?
of weather. It gets 5 below. You can't pour concrete when it's 5 below. You can't place asphalt when it's 5 below. So
Yeah.
that's what shut it down.
That's crazy.
So then, so if you're not what we call dried in, meaning if you haven't built the structure up, and then you kind of change the way you build. In other words, you build from the outside in. In other words, you build the skin first, and then you work inside in the cold
Yeah.
weather.
Yeah. And then, so now you guys are back in Vegas. I know you guys are a local business. You guys are deeply rooted in Vegas. Like, how does it feel to be back in your home, like have the home field advantage? And then, bro, you've worked on some crazy projects. One of my favorite places is the Uncommons,
Uncommons,
and you guys built it from the ground up,
Yeah,
the
right.
residential, the commercial
Yes.
area. Tell me a little bit about, since we just mentioned planning, how much planning did it take to build this beautiful space that everyone enjoys here in Vegas?
I started with back on napkin, and then I did all the estimates. I did all the budgeting, right? And it was seriously back on napkin. It was a sketch that an architect out of San Diego put together, a very well-known architect. And then they would look at me and say, okay, how much? Okay, this is $80 a foot, $90, whatever, right? So it started before we broke ground, about 2 years before that.
2 years of planning
Yes.
in order to execute this.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then now you guys have even more projects coming up. You have a $330 million project where you're going to be building some stuff for the state.
Yes.
What is it? A forensics?
It's a forensics hospital. It is a place where if you commit a crime and they are not sure if you're mentally there, they take you and they evaluate. So it's still a prison, but it has a component of like care where if you're actually not mentally there, then you get treatment. Or if you are kinda, and then they put you in a treatment, and then they take you through the court system. In Southern Nevada, we don't have that. Actually,
Wow.
all those people, they house them in the local prison, I guess, the local jail, and that doesn't go well with the population,
Yeah.
as you can imagine, right? And if I remember correctly, the county is charging the state a certain dollar amount per inmate, where if you do the math,
Crazy.
it was big.
Yeah.
We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars per month.
Yeah, they're willing to spend $330 million, so yeah, it
They
must
need
cost them a lot.
They need it bad.
I have a couple people I'm gonna recommend to go over there.
But you're right. I mean, they got the padded rooms. They have, and the thing that we've done a fair amount of that work. Like think of it, all those people, a lot of those people are suicidal. So you cannot have like a sprinkler pipe like what you have there because they're going to hang themselves. The doorknob, has got to be such a way where sometimes what they do, they would actually take the bedsheet and wrap it around the neck and around the doorknob, and then they choke themselves.
That's
so
crazy.
you got to set it up, all the components in the building where nobody can hurt themselves or hurt the people who take care of them, right? No blind spots everywhere, cameras. I mean, there's a lot of layers of stuff. So you got to, again, pre-planning and think ahead.
So you know how actors, every time they get a role, they try to embody that character, right? And it's cool to see like that you take that same level, the same approach, the same level of situational awareness, like learning about the things that happen in these places before you even start the project, because all these details are important.
You betcha. So you, in construction, in a way, the best way I can describe it is you plan for the worst. You have to, and be ready for it. So you need to have, plan A, plan B, plan C, and then when plan A doesn't happen, you go to plan B. And I think I told you earlier, the difference between a good contractor and not as good contractor is what they do when things get messed up. How do you react? Do you just raise your hands? You're like, well, shit, I can't help it, or whatever, right? Or do you just pivot and re-engage?
So with projects like the Uncommons, with projects like this facility that you're building out, and then you have a couple other big contracts that you have going on. You always are acquiring new clients.
Yes, sir.
How do you acquire those clients? Like, what does the process look like?
It's word to mouth. We don't really have a business development executive. Some contractors do. We do not. What I tell you, there's a good friend of mine who's a client, and then we became good friends. He told me this story once. He told me this, and it stuck it in my head. He said, Dimitri, if I need a steak, I'll go out with my friends and eat a steak at a steakhouse. Because a lot of contractors, what they do, let me buy you dinner, right? And kind of like bribe their way into it. If I need to play golf, I'll go with my friends, right? I don't need you to take me out golfing.
Yeah.
What I need from you is to tell me how I'm going to go from point A to point B in my building with the least amount of brain damage.
Yeah.
Because as developers, they do take a lot of risk.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And that kind of stuck into my head. So at Burke, we have developed a pre-construction program, we call it, where we put so many safety nets for them.
Yeah.
So while contractors are notorious for what I call reporting the news, I kind of pivoted to not only reporting, but making the news in the sense, okay, as it's designed now, right now you cannot afford it. It's going to cost you so much per square foot.
Yeah.
Right? If you do those changes, it's going to cost you so much less.
Yeah.
And that delta can actually be the differential between the deal making sense financially or not.
Yeah.
So think of it like your house. You're going to go buy a house, right? You know how much you can afford, right? I mean, in your mind, right?
Yeah.
So then you go to a building and say, I want to buy $1 million home. Well, of course, you would want to sell your $2 million home, right? But that's your ceiling. So that's where we come in. Okay, for $1 million, let me show you what you can do.
Yeah.
And that's the program.
Yeah, and so you have to have these certain filters to make sure that you guys are still making money. Mm-hmm. Any mistake is going to cost you profit. And it's the same thing that I ran into when I first opened up the studio, right? I didn't know what I was doing. It was a brand new industry for me. I was taking on clients. I was just kind of like having a conversation, trying to solve their problems, right? And then I didn't clearly define anything. I just kind of thought and hoped that it would work, right? Mm-hmm. But what ended up happening is I had to go work for Grant Cardone, Brandon Dawson, helping business owners implement different systems in their business to grow and scale. And the biggest thing that I did when I got back was productize everything so I could define it. It's one thing having a conversation and trying to help them with everything, right? And then it's another thing to to understand the process, what happens, like having enough feedback from the clients in order to create a system that actually works.
Right.
Because there's certain things that other companies miss. And then it's okay because they get persuaded by the client that's not the expert in the field,
Right.
and then you end up spending a bunch of money, not making any profit. And then that's why 97% of businesses fail.
Right.
So you and Burke, like how close, like are you guys still closely working together? Are you
With Kevin Burke?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay.
This guy's listen.
He's still working hard.
He's still working
He's about
hard.
to retire, and he's never going to retire.
Let me put it this way: he can just say, "Forget it, I'm done."
For
and go
sure.
home, and probably for the rest of his living years and his kids' years and his kids' year, he doesn't need to worry about making a living. But I mean, and I'm the same way with him. First of all, we have responsibility for our people. We have over 100 employees. So if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, if he doesn't do what he's supposed to, or my other partner doesn't do what he's supposed to do, then those people's livelihoods will be affected by it, right? So there's that responsibility. We have clients that rely on us. And most of our business, is negotiated. I mean, they just come in and here, go build this for me.
Okay, so I know you're a planner, but with timing, with materials, with employees, with all these different facets of the business, how do you guys stay like on track? Because obviously you guys done multiple of these big projects. Like, how do you make sure that nothing falls through the cracks? Is it the filters that you apply up front, or is it just the ability to pivot when there is an issue?
It's a lot of things. First of all, you got to pre-plan, right? Make sure subcontractor selection. Like I said, we don't self-perform any work, so we sub everything out. So I got, on any given building, I may have 40 different trade partners, between my concrete guy, my drywall guy, my painter, anything that goes in the building.
Yeah.
So having those guys on board and in the same page with you, so negotiate the scope of the work, make sure the price is solid. Like a lot of times, subcontractors, man, they don't even know what they're getting themselves into. So you got to kind of spoon feed them the information, right? And then when you go to construction, it's constantly monitoring progress and communicating with your team. And quite frankly, being mindful of the potential pitfalls that will come your way. And once you have determined those, then I don't want to say it becomes easier, but it's manageable.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about the challenges that come with all that, right? And some of the hurdles that you guys run into. So the problem isn't like getting people, but it's you mentioned it earlier, is like retaining top talent, right? Because the top talent, there's an opportunity, someone else is going to scoop them up if they have a job, right? How do you combat that?
Well, you got to do so many things to keep your employees happy, right? I call it an employee stays in your business. Think of it as like they're carrying bricks. So you just got to keep on adding bricks to them, right?
Yeah.
Your benefits, your compensation, the people they work with. Nobody just stays in a job for the salary, right?
Yeah.
Especially if it's a career. You got to have an environment that people can thrive and succeed. So we do all kind of things, man. I mean, first of all, I think we pay market. Right, so we constantly survey the market and see what the comps are. In the 20 years I've been at the business, I think the only time we didn't give bonuses, there were 2 years, 2008, 2009, right? Because, of course, at that point it was a survival, right?
Yeah.
So, but we made bonuses. And sometimes the executives didn't take bonuses to make sure we give it to the employees so they can stay. Because without them, I mean, I can only work so many hours a day, right? So that, and then we send them to forgive you all the interns that we get interns out of the universities. For some of them, because they come out of Utah, out of Salt Lake, we'll pay for their apartments.
That's awesome.
So, we'll set them up in apartments. Here, we got you.
You got to treat your people good.
You bet.
So do you guys have a system for hiring, onboarding? Like what is your touching base on all the different aspects that go into retaining top talent? What are your systems that you use to just create a winning culture?
Well, first of all, it has to do with the interview process. So we used to hire, we would look at degrees, right? You need to have a construction management degree from Purdue, which is like one of the top tier schools in the country. Or you need to have worked for one of the bigger, largest, baddest GCs, general contractors in town. We kind of pivoted from that because we found out that it's not necessarily the education. I can teach somebody to build.
Yeah.
That's not hard. I can teach you. Is do you want to learn?
Yeah.
Are you willing to do the sacrifices? Because when you start your career, you're gonna do some sacrifices, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's just gonna give you stuff. You gotta earn it, right? The position and the title. So are you willing to do this? And then once we see that you're actually you have the right, DNA for the
Yeah.
business, right? Then we're like, okay, now here's your career path. We actually develop career paths. In 3 years, if you do this, you're gonna be a senior project engineer. In 2 years or 3 years after that, you're gonna be an assistant project manager. Now, those are the metrics you gotta hit. After that, and so we give them the path. Now, the more they put into it, the more they're gonna get out of it.
Yeah.
We don't make it. We make it easy, but you still gotta work. You gotta earn it, right? If it's something is too easy, I don't think it's valued.
Yeah.
So once we set those metrics for them and the path, then we have people who've been with us for over 15 years,
Yeah.
10 years.
And then so you have a path set on time. Does anyone ever promote faster than the time?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a good friend of mine. He came from the oil and gas industry, and he moved from Bakersfield to Las Vegas. He specifically said, when I interviewed him, I want to come work for you. Just give me a chance. So he had that mind. This guy hadn't done really.
He decided.
He knew it.
Yeah.
That was his passion. And then we're like, okay. So we gave him. I remember he had just picked up a little project right by Martin Luther King and Owens, and it was an addition to the MLK, the Martin Luther King Hall actually, and it was a $4 or $5 million job, right? So okay, you run it, and we're keeping eyes on him to see how he did. Killed it.
Killed it.
Right? Next one was a $15 million job.
Yeah.
Let's see how you do. Now we give him some support now. Killed it. Next one, $40 million job.
Yeah.
He did for Nevada State College up in Henderson. There's that, what I think it's called Nevada State College. We built a building where they teach teachers to be teachers.
Yeah.
For the state of Nevada. Killed it. And now he's running, I don't know if you've been downtown. Right now under construction downtown.
Oh, the big apartment complex that they're building?
We're
That's
doing
you
those.
guys?
We're doing those.
Oh, man.
So
yeah.
I got over, I kid you not, I got over 1,200 units under construction right now. And he's doing one of those projects. It's $127 million. He's got a team of 7, 8 under him. And then all the subcontractors, right?
Yeah.
Killing it. And this
love
guy
that.
doesn't have a college degree.
Yeah.
He has an associate's. But he's competitive. If you want to be, and I'm sure you can relate to that, you got to be competitive in this
Yeah.
industry. Otherwise,
You have to have that dog in you.
right, you got to be a mediator.
Yeah.
You nailed it. So you got to be hungry. He's hungry.
Yeah.
And actually, we're going to make him, this is a guy that eventually will be a potential owner. We'll
Yeah.
give him stock.
I love that. And I love that you leave that opportunity open
Oh my God, yeah.
because that's what Brandon Dawson did. Just a little bit about Brandon Dawson. He partnered up with Grant Cardone in 2019. Okay. Since his net worth went from $500 million to $1.2 billion, they added an extra $4 billion to Grant's real estate portfolio. So he's a growth and scaling expert. Great. And he sold his last company for 77 times EBITDA, $151 million. But what he did was the same thing. He showed appreciation for the people that helped them, that believed in him, that helped them build this company. And then he gave them 40% of what he made. You know what I'm saying?
So Kevin Burke is very similar to that. Do you mind if I interrupt you?
No, please.
So I want to say 8 years ago, another GC, general contractor that we compete against, the founder sold his business to another contractor, a bigger contractor out of Salt Lake City. So, and that business has been around, this specific was about 50 years, longer than we have. So I knew some of the guys there because we're friendly competitors. We talked, we ran into each other in the circles, right? And I asked them, hey man, so-and-so sold, what'd you get? Got nothing. They're still working there. And those guys have been with him for like 20 years. Like a guy like me, right? So when that happened, I went to Kevin Burke 7 years ago, and I'm like, hey, man, what happened over there? You tell me now, because I'm not interested. Working like my tail off, because I work hard, all right?
Yeah.
And then somebody comes in. Now, he doesn't have, Kevin Burke doesn't have a son to take over the business.
Yeah.
He has a daughter, but she's not interested, right, to come in the business. What do you do with it? Seriously, what do you do with it? And he never thought of it to his credit. Like, you never think of your business mortality, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, why not? Makes sense. And I got to tell you, after that, because that kind of changed the structure of the business.
And your relationship with him?
You bet. Not only that, it's the approach.
Yeah.
Right now, you own part of it. You kind of change it. You're not an employee where you just manage somebody else's money, right?
Yeah.
It's his money, my money now. So now you're changed your approach, and I can tell you, it was like putting afterburner for us. We just skyrocketed. You could see the growth 25%, and it was growth that we pulled back. In other words, it could have been more.
Yeah.
We just you want, as a contractor, you got to be careful. You don't want to be grow so fast, because believe it or not, contractors go out of business when they're busy, not when they're slow.
Yeah.
Right.
So you say that you're relentless about delivering results. I want to know like what that looks like on a day-to-day practice.
First of all, it's the way I can describe construction. Think of it as a full contact sport. You got to roll with the punches, right? I'm not saying you got to be a knucklehead, but you have to be firm. You have to be fair. Your integrity is very important. If I tell you I'm going to do something for you, you better believe I'll do it. Because if you lose credibility, that's all you got.
Yeah.
Right? And then no subcontractors will ever follow you, right? So, but when you see a subcontractor failing, or even your own team, you got to just kind of rattle the cage. And you got to do it with care. You got to do it in a way where they know that you're after the best interest. Because listen, I don't want my subcontractors to lose money, because if he loses money, he's going to take shortcuts.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
But if I see you falling behind, let's say he doesn't provide the manpower, hey man, this is not going to work. So either you need to man up and give me more dudes, more guys, or you're going to work on the weekends, or if you cannot, then I'll get you people. I'll go supplement you. But I'm going to pay for that. You're going to pay for it.
Absolutely.
And having those hard conversations, they're key, because if you don't, and you just, a lot of people in my industry, they're somewhat people pleasers. You can't.
So many. Like, I feel like the large part of the population are all people pleasers, and that's why nothing gets done. All right, so we were talking about like being relentless about delivering results. So, can you share with us a project where that you can remember that following these different principles really made a difference?
Yes, I'll go back 2007. On San Rose Parkway, there is a facility. Now it's called Imperial. It used to be Cashman Caterpillar. With the yellow. We built that.
Oh, okay.
So I worked with the architect from the beginning when Mary Kay Cashman wanted to build this facility. And she wanted to be where it's what I call net zero, meaning you don't burn any power. So think about that. How do you make a facility where you don't consume power? So it has to be solar and geothermal. And trying to do this so hard, especially in 2007, where solar technology was there, but it was not fully developed. Geothermal, I don't know if you know what geothermal is?
No.
Can I tell you?
Yeah, please.
So think of it that the core temperature of the Earth, like you go 40, 50 feet below, it's about 72 degrees. So you take water and you take it down, right? It's like a pipe in a pipe, a loop system. It goes up and then it goes down, and you fill those pipes with water, and you build what we call them wells. It's just like a well. At that site, we have 348 wells, I think. So you drill down and you run a pipe, and so you have all this massive water that goes through, and then you put it through what we call them air handlers. It's just a fan that pushes that 72-degree water, and that air comes out of it is cool now. Because here you don't need to worry about cold, you worry about the heat, right?
Yeah.
And then you have those big pieces of equipment that they will do service on them. Those are the dozers, right? So they stay in the sun and they bake, right? They're in the sun, and then you put them in, and you put them through this program with the air, and then we actually put like shower heads in the building, so to wash them off. You clean them, and then they drop the temperature. So she was able, when that facility was done, she still had a power bill, but we're talking about the 330,000 square foot facility. Her power bill was, in the dead of August, was probably $2,500. You got homes here that are probably like the big customs that you see around up in Summerlin. Their power bill in the summer could be $1,000.
Yeah.
Think about it.
We had like a 6,000 square foot house, super big ceilings. Our electric bill was crazy.
Yeah, about $1,000 probably.
$1,200.
Yeah, think about it.
And that's for like a little 6,000.
Yeah, imagine a building that big, right? So she, and that was, again, and the thing is, when we first started, they said there was no way for us to do it, right? And you just kept on working on it. They kept on working on it, kept on working, and then coming up with ideas, coming up with a solution, working hand in hand with the engineer. How do we insulate the roof? How do we insulate the concrete panels? All the the walls, the exterior walls. We figured it out.
So you've been in business for a long time, and you compete against these big GC firms that are sometimes outside of Nevada,
Yes.
right? And then they
Yes.
have a lot of money, a lot of resources. So what have you learned to turn that into advantage versus a disadvantage?
Well, being a local makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Because you know the jurisdictions, you know the Clark County, you know the health district, you know all the people to navigate, right? We're on a first name basis with most of the inspectors, so I can call Bill, my concrete inspector, hey man, I may be running late, so can you do this for me? Can you do it? They'll do it because they know you. They know the face, right?
Yeah.
Behind the voice. So start with that. Understanding the local conditions is really critical. For example, we know in August we may get some rain, so you make sure you don't have the roof open.
Yeah.
In August, so make sure you just got it covered. Most guys coming out of Salt Lake or I don't know.
Yeah.
Here we have wind. Sometimes it gets really windy, right?
Yeah.
So you got to make sure when you know it's going to be windy, make sure you don't have the crane operating. You got to shut the crane down, right? Well, there's a cost there, right? So you got to be able to plan again, going back to planning, right?
Yeah.
But you got to know what to plan for. If you don't, then you're just driving blind. For example, the water here is very corrosive. So if you put a pipe on the ground, that's metal, guaranteed in 3 or 4 years you're going to end up replacing it because the water is going to eat it up, right? So you make sure you don't put metal pipe, or if you do, you put something that's an epoxy coat in it, or you put stuff in the pipe where it doesn't corrode. So having that institutional knowledge, right, makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, your network is your net worth, right?
Absolutely.
You got to shake hands, kiss
Yeah.
babies. You
Know
got to
other
make
people.
sure that just like you treat your employees good, you
Yeah.
got to treat the other people good. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You got to make sure that you greet everyone, that you're not just
friendly.
self-centered and like
Oh my God, no.
this. It's good to be on a mission, but you
Right.
also got to acknowledge the other people that are part of that mission too.
In construction, we say it's very expensive to have ego.
Oh yeah,
It's going to cost you money.
yeah,
So once you pay a couple, you cut a couple of checks, then you lose your ego.
that's it. That's one way to hey, every time you have to pay, you pay attention.
You bet.
You
Yeah,
know?
you can't afford to have an ego. I mean, actually, that's one of the terms I use. We can't afford to have an ego.
Yeah, those are expensive. So, so looking back at the last few years, you're the vice president. You run a lot of the design work. You take care of a lot of big duties in the company. What are like 2 or 3 lessons that you've learned, and how have you pivoted from those lessons just in the last few years? Now that you have experience, now that you have ownership, now that you have, a lot riding on the success of the company.
Sure. Number one, problems don't get better with time.
Yeah.
You got to engage right away. The moment a problem comes up, face it, engage it. Number two, you're as good as your worst employee.
So with that being said, you're as good as your worst employee. I hear this all the time, but you got to hire slow, fire fast. Is that the principle that you guys use to make sure that you don't have a bad employee that's just going to decrease your effectiveness?
Well, I take it personal. When one of my guys fails, I take it personal, and I'm not sure that's healthy, but you got to give them safety nets.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody goes to work, wake up on a Friday morning, I'm going to go to work and do a shitty job, right? But nobody does that. But if you don't give them enough safety nets and enough support, they'll fail. It's
Yeah.
another time.
Yeah. Where there's failure, where there's confusion, there's failure.
Absolutely.
Right. So you gotta clear them of the confusion. And what are some of the things that you do to provide those safety nets or that support?
We have regular what we call best practice meetings. So we get together and we go through estimates that we put together and this is best in class. Right, let's start with that. We constantly bring in subcontractors in and we talk to them. What do you see? Because again, we consider our trade partners as also experts. So you tell me what you see. Tell me, because the market is evolving, right? The market is changing, right? So having all that information exchanged and back and forth, that's how you get clarity.
Yeah.
Right, and that's so critical. And even that. There are no guarantees. You can hire somebody, he has the best resume, he gives you the best interview, and he starts great. And I had this happen in the past where all of a sudden they pick up an alcohol habit.
Yeah.
I can't control
Yeah.
What do you do?
Or they get discouraged. Or so same thing.
Life gets in the way.
Life gets in the way, and it's the same thing that we talked about earlier. Like having those conversations. On the other side of the hard conversation, there's clarity, right?
Exactly.
There's a path if you just have that conversation. But people stay quiet. They don't want to make someone else feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
They just throw it under the rug, and it builds up, and then now they're a terrible employee. They don't because they don't care, right? So you should take it personal because this is a company that gave you an opportunity that has endless opportunities. They had someone like yourself start in the company, get promoted, work your way up, show your worth, and then now you own part of the company.
That's right.
So that's and then now you're talking about doing the same thing with another person in your company that doesn't have a college degree, right? That just started with this hard work and dedication and a commitment to success. And then now he's up in the running to get.
To your point, this year we actually have two people that they will get, each one of them will get shares, right? And that's life changing.
That's life changing.
Yeah, that's life changing.
You know, so it's not only life changing for like the financial reward behind it, but it's like the person that you become, just like you said, growth 25%. You have all this extra margin added to the company, but it's because people are now like fully committed to giving their all. People are scared to give their all because they don't know what they'll get in return. But now that you get a percentage, you have fully bought in, competent people. They got promoted for a reason, and then now they get to contribute in a way that they've never done before.
Mind, I'm buying my shares, right? So I want people to buy my shares.
Yeah.
Right? So I need to set them up to succeed. Otherwise, 15% of nothing is nothing, right? So it's got to be set up in such a way where it's worth something. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then you said that adding time to the equation is never the right move, right? Like you can't add time to problems. Elaborate a little bit on that, because people think that if you just wait, the problem's going to go away, and that's not the reality.
No, hope is not a strategy.
Man.
Right?
Say that again.
I can't say that enough, right? And I heard a couple of weeks ago, I heard a term called hopium. It's very addictive.
Hopium?
Hopium.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It sounds worse than crack.
That's right. It is. So, yeah, you got to face the challenge, right? And I'm telling you, the faster you engage, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
Right? Because you face it, and you take a haircut, It happens. It's part of business. But if you let it linger, man.
You know what it is? It's like the faster you engage, the faster you'll know. I always tell this to the team. It's not good. It's not good news, bad news, good information, bad information. Is this information? Is this the feedback that you get in order to make those adjustments? You don't know what adjustments you're going to make if you don't have the right information.
Another thing I tell my team is, as long as we know the rules of the game, we're going to play basketball, we're going to show up with our high tops, basketball shorts, we're going to play basketball. But when we show up and the other team shows us with baseball bats, that's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
Not for us.
Yeah. You follow me? So you're like, okay. So you gotta have clarity. And then the only way, I'm telling you, the only way to do this, you gotta keep on talking to your people and get the feedback. Believe it or not, a lot of people fail and they don't tell you of the issue because they don't want to disappoint you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you set up the environment where, like, listen, it's okay to make a mistake. It happens all the time. Hell, I do them every freaking day. I make a mistake. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just tell me what it is, and then we'll figure it out. You're safe. So that's safety net number one. Yeah. Right. And then
open communication.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then they sit down with them, and then when they see you as their boss or the owner, kind of you're with them in the trench, shoveling dirt. Okay. Then you see. Then you're like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And then you get commitment.
Yes.
Right? Is when you don't get the commitment. Or there are contractors in this town, man, where I remember I was interviewing a gentleman for a position, and then he told me that he's never met his president. And that was not a big contractor, a small contractor, like 50, 60 million. Yeah. But this guy thought he was higher than thou. Yeah. He never met him. So what kind of commitment do you think this guy is going to have? Yeah. None.
Your job as a leader is to make it easy for the other people to succeed and show them an example of success, and really like point out the proficiencies that they need to excel in order to, you have a set path. Hey, you do this, you get promoted to this. You do this, you get promoted to this. Right. And just showing face and showing that you care goes a long way.
There's a great book called The Servant, and it's a business book. I can't remember the author, but I give it to every new employee that works in this. I give it here. I read this, and quite frankly, it is, it's about servant leadership.
Yeah.
Right. I'm here to serve my people. I'm
Yes.
here to serve my clients. I'm here to serve my employees. You tell me what you need from me.
Yeah.
And if that means I'm going to sit down and start counting light fixtures and plumbing fixtures on your job, so be it. Tell me what needs to be done. And when they see that back and forth and that engagement, then you get clarity. You get commitment.
Yeah. So you want to grow the company 15 to 20% in the next 6 to 12 months. That's a big commitment. Like, what system infrastructures do you need to implement into the business? What do you feel like is missing for you to achieve those type of numbers?
Well, first of all, there's some things you cannot control, like
Yeah.
the market, right? Now, the good thing is the Feds cut the rates, which is good. That means you can get cheaper money, right? So that helps. Quite frankly, to do this, to get the next, let's say for us, let's say 20% will be $60 million. It's one job.
Yeah.
Think about it. It's just one project.
Yeah.
So we do have a database of clients, right? We have personal relations with them. Now, our deals, and this is just about every contractor our size. When I start talking to you about a deal, it won't start for another maybe year, maybe 2 years, because that's the way it works. Design and permitting and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So think of it, it's a funnel, and you got it overloaded.
Yeah.
And then out of the funnel, it comes down, right? So, and then they're just swirling there, right?
Yeah.
And it could be things like financing. They cannot get financing. I mean, back in 2008, you could drive around the strip and you could see those unfinished towers, right?
Yeah.
So some contractor guaranteed was holding the bag on this one.
For sure.
They started, they spent the money, next thing you know, financing is gone, right? So you got that component. You got permitting. To get a building permit now in Clark County on a ground up, on a piece of dirt, it may take you a year before you get it.
Yeah.
So there's all those different, obstacles, right?
Yeah.
So you need to have, like, for every job that you're gonna build, you probably need to chase 3 or 4 of them, right? Right, and we keep metrics of that. Right now, my success rate, so is 1 in 4.
1 and 4.
When I bid, for me to get one, I got to bid 4, right? Now, I'm not saying all the rest 3 go away. It takes time.
Yeah.
And sometimes they go to somebody else, and then it doesn't work out. They come to us, right? And that's it. There's local association we belong to
Yeah.
that we always go. But I got to tell you, most of our business comes word to mouth.
Yeah.
Relationship with architects, designers, engineers, consultants, even brokers, commercial brokers. They have people that want to build. They call, and the conversation goes, "Hey, Dimitri, I want to build a 3-story office building in the southwest part of the valley. How much?" That's how it starts. And
Yeah.
you start from there.
And you said that you have metrics to track all of this. Like, how do you measure success, and how do you know that, like, if you're on the right track?
Well, first of all, closing. Are you closing or not?
Yeah.
Or are you just shooting? You're firing duds, right?
Yeah.
That's easy, right? Because we bid so much, we got so much. Okay, here's your success rate. So I keep track of that. Then at the end of the job, if we say, okay, we always, we figure a schedule, this 24-month construction period. Did it take us 24? Did it take us 26? Did it take us 20? So that's okay. And then if it took longer, why? Is it something we caused because maybe we didn't sequence right? Or is it because the developer came in and started changing things, right? That is justifiable. It makes sense, right? The last one is, actually the third one is actually more. There's one more. Safety. Anybody get hurt, right? Construction is a dangerous job, right?
Absolutely.
You know that, right? We have a safety program. We have a safety manager. I mean, we have, but still, things happen, right? So you got to make sure, especially if you go downtown, seriously, there's no,
It's tiny.
Yeah. So you got to figure, it's called vertical construction, vertical schedule, one on top of each other, right? So,
Bro, I've seen how you guys are building those apartment complexes and how the cranes are there and how you guys are squeezed into this little tight spot. It's crazy to see, like, how you guys are able to, like, build that from the ground
I would
up.
love to show you what we're building right now. That crane is actually in the elevator shaft. Think about it, right in the middle of it.
Bro, we walked around that building trying to figure out, like, where the crane was coming from, and
the elevator shaft.
we saw the other one that you guys had there for like a couple of days because my brother-in-law, he owns a bar right across the street from that place. So they're excited for it to finish.
Oh my God.
Get all those
Clientele,
clients.
my man.
Yeah, for sure.
So
And is that like luxury living or like what's
apartments,
the?
you're right.
Yeah.
They're rentals, but they're high end. I mean, you're talking about rents would be $2,500, $2,600 a month. You know, the high end, 2-bedroom, most of them. So they're going to end up with roommates. But it's a complete, and one thing, what makes downtown very appealing to developers, it's an opportunity zone. And I don't know if you know how that works. If you hold the asset for 10 years and you manage it, when you sell it, you don't pay capital gains.
Oh,
It's huge.
yeah.
Think about it.
That is huge.
It's huge. You don't. It's 30%. What's that? 33%. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a game changer. So that's, and downtown, the whole downtown, it's a opportunity zone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you want to go walk it? Let me know. I'll set you up. We go there and see the whole thing.
Let's
I mean,
go.
because we got 3 of them ongoing. One is at Symphony Park. There's about 300 units. One is on 3rd Street in Commerce. There are actually 3 buildings that we had 2 cranes there, and the other one is, I think you're talking about is on Imperial.
Yeah.
And next to Desert Meats, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And I think I know the bar you're talking about. So that's the one, the crane is right in the elevator shaft.
That's
And
crazy.
that was another maybe 330 units. And those are fun jobs.
Yeah.
Hard, but they're fun.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, we have a few more minutes, but
Sure.
across, there's different things that you have to focus on at different revenue points, right? From 1 to 3 million, you focus on road duplication, passing on the skills that you've developed, the lessons that you learned, getting to $1 million. Now you share those with other people so you could delegate some of that work. Then you go into process creation. Then you go into your core leadership group, and then. So what do you guys currently focus on right now across operations, finance, sales and marketing, and people? Like, what's the biggest gap that you guys could fill in order to achieve faster success? People? What part? Is it the hiring? Is it the retaining? Is it the onboarding? Is it the alignment?
Yes. Construction is, unfortunately, not a very attractive industry for people.
Yeah.
It's hard work, a lot of hours. I mean, that's how it works. And finding the right people, finding the talent. And I got to tell you, I would walk away from projects if I don't feel, and Kevin Burke's the same way with, and Thad, my partner, if we don't feel we have the right people.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
And there's not enough for
Can't
us.
build it yourself.
No my way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, man, I'm 60 hours
Yeah.
a week. That's like my norm. I'll be there tomorrow. That's how it works. I take work with me on Sunday. I can't be everywhere. Kevin Burke and Thad, so it's all about people. And we don't hire companies. We hire people. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the bottleneck. And so whoever figures that thing out will be a billionaire.
Yeah.
I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah. There is, so here's the thing, like people are just doing whatever has worked, however they've been able to just piece it together, right? But there are systems out there that streamline the hiring process. There's no way around like hiring perfect people all the time. But there's a way to post a job opportunity and for it to be received the right way by the right people. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's a way to onboard people so you have higher retention. There's a way to, another thing I learned from Brandon is you gotta, because people are selfish. They want to know what's in it for them.
That's right.
So you got to dig deep into their personal, professional, and financial goals. And then you got to show them the path that what they want in life, right, could be achieved through the success inside of your company. At the end of the day, there's no perfect silver bullet to solve that issue. But there's things that you could do to tighten it up a little bit.
No, I can tell you now, on the other hand, that's where the opportunity lies, right?
Yes.
Because if you figure it out, or at least you get this, and I think we're good at it, our retention rate is, another thing we keep track of is, the retention rate in the construction industry in general is 20%.
That's crazy.
Think about it. 1 in 5 is out the door.
That's
right. We are actually tracking, I want to say we're about 12% right now.
Oh, okay.
So it's not bad. But still, when you lose somebody, some people, you cannot, there's nothing you can do. For example, we had a gentleman, he was really good, and his wife's family was from the Bay Area. And the wife had a kid, and the parents said, listen, we will help you raise your kid. We'll be your free daycare. Gone.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do there, right? I mean, you can't compete with that, right?
Yep.
Family is important.
You gotta wish them farewell.
Absolutely.
Good luck. You know what I'm
And
saying?
the best,
Thank you for
right?
your contribution.
Absolutely. We threw a party for him. It is what it is,
Yeah.
right? Now, we had other people who got poached.
Yeah.
Another contractor came in and offered them an extra 20% comp. But because they were in kind of like in dire straits, they needed the people because
Yeah.
they had a job started, whatever, who knows, right? But the problem with that is it's not sustainable. Nobody, there's only so much you can pay somebody, right? And then it's not economical. It makes financially makes no sense. Now, you can get away with it maybe for one job because we call it job costed, you charge your client, but it's not sustainable because you cannot do this again and again and again.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're going to have.
And that's why they bounce around so much is
right.
because they see a shiny object. They go over there. They think the grass is greener on the other side. They get paid a little bit more. They don't save any of the money. They increase their lifestyle, and then now their life is
you bet. It's
messed
called
up.
a shiny penny,
Yeah.
and then you get what I call a life creep. So you go out and you buy a nicer car, or you have now a car payment that you can't afford, and then you're stuck.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen, and then
Because they have to justify it to their wife. Be like, baby, look, now we got a Mercedes. You know what I'm saying? I left the company, this big opportunity. Next job, back to the ghetto they go.
And I can tell you, the people we tell them, listen, you come work for us, you will stay employed.
Yeah.
You never have to worry about. If I need to, I'll put you on the bench if I need to. Let's say between the next project that starts, right?
Yeah.
Or you come help me in estimate.
Yeah.
Put estimates together. Help
Yeah.
me with budgeting. Help me with this.
Keep
Help me with
busy.
that. We keep them busy, and we've done it. I mean, I had PMs, project managers, sitting the bench for 3 or 4 months working with me. And actually, it's kind of cool because
They see a different version.
they see how we
Yeah.
put how we make the sausage, right? They
Yeah.
see it, and then a lot of times it's their job. It's
Yeah.
their project. Like, help me estimate it. Let me
Yeah.
help me pick the subcontractors. Help me pick the contracts. All that stuff, right? And then they're like, oh shit, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. So we're gonna wrap up, but I want you to share with the entrepreneurs that are watching this show, like what advice would you give them? Like 20 years ago, if you're talking to yourself, right? What advice do you wish you would have gave yourself in order to, or even looking on the other side, like, hey, I did this and this is why I was successful. What does that look like?
Take risks. It's okay to take risks. Be fearless, especially if you're young. If you're in your 20s and you started the business, you can take risks because guess what? You got time ahead of you to make up for it, right? There is that. Secondly, it's okay to ask for more. Go to your boss, go to your client, and ask for more if you think you're worth it and you've earned it. Like I asked Kevin Burke, listen, I've been working for you for so many years, and I'm committed and I'm loyal. Tell me what you want to do with the business. And then he said, okay. If I hadn't asked him, I don't know if you've done it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's okay to ask.
You know what's cool about that? That you asking that question, he probably didn't even have awareness around the situation, right? So he didn't even know. But since you asked that question, it forced him to spend some time thinking about that problem or that situation and then defining it. And then now, not only do you have clarity and a higher commitment for success of the company, right? But he also has clarity and he knows how to maneuver his exit strategy and other things.
Absolutely. And think about what is the message you relate to the rest of your team. That he's willing to do that for the people who will be there, as long as they have loyalty. So he's loyal to them now. You see how this thing can swing both ways, right?
Absolutely.
So that's a huge lesson. And loyalty, you can't pay enough for people to care. You can't pay enough for people to be loyal to you.
Yeah.
I guess that's the best advice I can give.
No, absolutely. Find something, commit 100%.
Take risks. It's okay.
Take risk. And
you took a risk. Right here, right?
Oh, bro, it's crazy. You already know how entrepreneurship is, up and down. So where could people find you? Like on your social medias, your website?
I don't really. Construction is kind of archaic, right? We have a website, www.burkecgi.com. I mean, I don't have my own website. I'm there. You can see us. We have a Facebook account. I mean, that's about it.
Okay. We connected on LinkedIn.
That's right.
He's on LinkedIn. He's always dropping value. So make sure you guys follow Dimitri. Dimitri, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you being on the show.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.